So we need to know where we stand. So the next thing we're going to do is try and work out what we can try and do with this engine, see if we can get hold of them, or if it's just a case we've been sent a old engine and we've been scammed. Evening all, welcome back to the Car UK channel. Right, today I'm going to talk to you about a massive dilemma that I've got on my hands with a wet belt engine. Yes, you heard me right, wet belt. Now I bang on this channel about you should never buy a wet belt vehicle. Now wet belt vehicle is where the engine, instead of having like a timing belt or a timing chain, has basically looks like a cam belt, but it actually is submerged in oil. Most common two vehicles that are fitted with these are the Ford, the EcoBoost engines, things like in the Fiesta, also in the Focus as well, and lots of other Fords as well, and also in the Peugeot Citroens and some of the Vauxhalls as well, PureTech engines. When the Fords are 1 litres, in the PureTech versions, so the Citroen Peugeots and even some late Vauxhalls, it's 1.2. Both have wet belts, both fall to pieces. The belts get chewed up, clog the engines up, can snap in some cases as well. They're just a terrible design, and that's the reason why Ford and Peugeot Citroen, who own Vauxhall as well, have basically turned full circle on them after about 10 years it took them, completely redesigned the engines and gone back to a conventional chain, which just goes to show how rubbish they are, that even the manufacturer that come up with these designs and started putting them into their own engines has even eventually turned around and basically stopped using them. And because they're so problematic and in some cases can be really difficult to change and expensive, and like I said, the reliability is awful, that's why I will not retail one of these cars. And that is the crucial thing we're talking about here today, retail. That means me buying the car, get it all minted up, selling it in a retailer setting, this pitch, to a private customer, and obviously all the obligations that I have to them under consumer law. And because the engines are so unreliable, I just don't want to get involved with them. I think I could have sold one vehicle with a wet belt since I've been here at the car pitch, and that was purely because it had a recent engine fitted. Otherwise, I just wouldn't have bothered. It's not worth the hassle. That doesn't mean that I won't buy the cars that have wet belts, like Focuses, and I bought a few since I've been here, and other Peugeot Citroens, because there is a very different thing from me buying them to sell to a customer, a private individual, than it is to me buying one in the trade and selling it to another motor trader. What the next motor trader does with a vehicle that I sell him is his business and nothing to do with me. And that is exactly what I have done with this vehicle I'm about to show you. But this goes further, because not only have I bought basically a car that's got a knackered engine, I've tried to solve the problem by replacing the engine, and I think I potentially have been scammed as well with a absolutely terrible engine that I've been sent, which I'll show you in a minute. But first of all, let me give you the background to the car in question. Right, so here is the car in question. It is a Mark II Citroen C1. Now, we like Citroen C1s here, and in fact, there's a Citroen C1 right next to it. This is a Mark I, that's a Mark II. These were up to about 2014, they started on 14. Now, in the previous model, they ran a 1 litre petrol Toyota Aygo-based engines, actually made by Daihatsu, but it's a Toyota engine, let's just say that. And they are very, very, very good. And in fact, they even kept that engine on into the new shape model, very slightly differently, but 98% of it is pretty much the same engine. It's very reliable, and you can buy the Citroen C1 Mark II with that engine in, the earlier engine in, the reliable 1 litre, or the new variation of it. However, Citroen and Peugeot as well, in their wisdom, also decided, because they have their own 1.2 3-cylinder PureTech engine, which has been going in cars since about 2012, that they would also offer an alternative engine, a more powerful engine, the 1.2 PureTech. Now, in fairness, the 1.2 PureTech engine used in the Citroen C1 Mark II, sorry, is a little bit quicker to drive. It's a tiny bit worse off in fuel, but not much. So it's a massive improvement on the performance. And when you drive one that's run all well, they are lovely, lovely things to drive. Arguably better to drive than the 1 litres because they've got a bit more pep to them. However, the reliability is shocking on them because of this wet belt. It gets chewed up, it breaks down, it clogs everything up, you get oil like problems, you can get the belt snapping and actually the engine complete failure, and also you can get issues with crankshafts and stuff like that going wrong, crank movement, all sorts of horrible things on the PureTech engines. Which is why, as mentioned, I will not buy any PureTech vehicles, including the decent C1s and 108s, which these are fitted in, with a 1.2 in. Just won't do it. 1 litres all day long, but never the 1.2. However, this 1.2 PureTech, the Citroen C1, was offered to me by a motor trader, and it was offered to me extremely cheap. So I decided that I would buy it, because what we'd do with it is basically repair it or sort out the issue of it and sell it to another motor trader. There's plenty of money in it for me to get it up and running again and to sell it on to someone else, trade to trade sale, make a nice bit of cash out of it, move it on. And that was the plan. Because I got this, like I said, really cheap, and there was even enough money for me to get another engine for this car, which is knackered. The belt on this one is completely fell apart, it's actually snapped, so I could get another engine, slot it in, get it MOT, clean it up and sell it to another motor trader, and probably would make roughly about £1,200–1,300 profit, even after all the work that I envisaged doing. So I thought, sod it, we'll have a go with it, because it's a nice little flip deal, make a bit of money, got none of the issues of having to stand by the vehicle for X many months, etc., all consumer rights issues. You're selling it on in the trade, it does not matter. So there you go, that is the reason why I bought that little Citroen C1 with that horrible 1.2 PureTech in. Not to retail it to consumers, like I said, I don't want to get involved with that. I just thought we'd buy it, get an engine, order one offline, spend a day on it, get it in the car, up and running, get it MOT'd and flog it. I'll sell it like that to another trader. Whatever they want to do is completely up to them. I even would have put a brand new wet belt on it as well, because I'm just like that. But even then, I still don't want to retail it. It's just easier for me to pass it through the trade, get me money in my back pocket, job done. Nice little earner. Now, we need an engine, and that is what I did next. Went straight onto eBay and got myself an engine. Now, in fairness, there's quite a few on there, as you can see here, and there still is a few now available. So when I came across one that was showing only done about 30-odd thousand miles, I thought, do you know what? That is the one. It was reasonably priced. It wasn't too far away. It's actually reasonably local to us, so if there's any issues, we've got them on the doorstep. And by buying a low mileage engine, we're less likely to have any issues. It's obviously not gone through the same sort of mileage as a 100,000 mile car obviously has gone through, so it's a bit less wear on it. The belt, probably, well, we would have changed it anyway, so it wouldn't really matter if the belt was falling apart, as long as it wasn't too severe. But as long as we've got an half-decent engine, we can put a new belt on it and get it in the car. So I paid my princely sum of about £800 plus some fees on top for delivery, etc. So nearly £1,000 in total, and we had it shipped over to us here at the car pitch. And it arrived a few days ago, and we arrived to find this. So here is the engine that we were sent, the 1.2 PureTech engine for our C1. Come from a breakers, and the first thing we noticed straight away, which is a bit odd, particularly from a breakers, was actually how much was on the engine. Not that we're complaining, don't mind a few extras, but it's very unusual when you order an engine, and I only literally just ordered the engine, it never said it came with anything else. Usually you just get bare basics. You don't usually expect to see, well, the gearbox still attached to it, because obviously that's got some value to it, so why would you leave a gearbox on? That's a bit strange. The ECU still attached to it, and a ruck of auxiliaries. Most of the time you just get effectively a bare engine. Most people even take the injectors out or coils out. It's quite common for breakers to do that, because obviously they're giving you free parts that they don't need to give. Even the starter motor, all these are worth a bit of money. Now, like I said, that's not a complaint, just a bit strange why they left all those bits on. That usually wouldn't happen. Now, when we unwrapped it, unfortunately, we've noticed straight away that there was a few things that are broken off, like a water pipe and also a fuel rail hose as well is broken. Now, it doesn't matter too much. We've got a spare engine anyway. We can sort that out. As long as it's up and running, it wouldn't bother me. I expect that sometimes things can break in transit. As long as it's mechanically sound, I don't mind having to change some auxiliaries. Not an issue. Now, first thing you're going to do one of these, and what you can do, so any PureTech engine, as you can see, you check the wet belt, and you can do that by taking off the oil cap, because on the Peugeot Citroen ones, you can actually see, you can quite get the torch in there, you can actually just see there, hopefully you can see this, you can actually just see the wet belt there through that, well, it's like a plastic cover to stop you dropping shit in it. But yeah, that is the wet belt there. And I can tell you, from more close inspection, that it is not in great shape. It's really badly split and it's badly damaged, so that's not good. Now, that doesn't matter as too much, because our intentions was to put a brand new belt on it and we'd have stripped this all down. And, you know, obviously cleaned out all the gauzes and stuff like that. But if it's really bad, the belt, like that, it's not a great sign that it's had a great life. And we could end up putting basically like a pig together, putting a new belt on an old worn engine. Now, bear in mind, this has supposedly got 30-odd thousand miles on. But when stripping this all down, taking all the belts off, which we've now put back on, because we're now going to try and send this engine back to the provider, we found another problem. Let me show you. So the issue is down here. Now, we say we stripped all these auxiliary belts off, but we can still be able to move this. So this here is your bottom crank pulley. That is your crankshaft there on the outer pulley. This really shouldn't move, and it shouldn't move this much. I'll put it in here now. See that there? How much that's moved? Let me just show you again. Kick it back. The bar in there. that is moved a good, nearly almost half an inch. Do it again, you can see it. I mean, it's just like horrendously bad. I can even move it with my hand. You should not be able to move your crankshaft a good half inch, 3/4 of an inch. What's the problem for that? Well, basically it's got worn bearings. And it's moving, and it was common on the 1.2 PureTechs. In fact, in the early days, they even recalled a few of them, and we're doing them under goodwill. Basically, we have crankshaft movement, and that is one of those. It's got too much end flow in it, as we'd say. So that is no good, because what is the point in installing that engine with an all-new belt on it to start it up, and it could be rattling its can off, or even if it isn't rattling, which I'd be amazed if it wasn't, then we're going to send out an engine, even if it's trade, to someone who, well, it could blow up on. So in reality, that is not worth what we paid for it. It's basically knackered. Now, we bought it from Breakers online through eBay, so we need to know where we stand. So the next thing we're going to do is try and work out what we can try and do with this engine, see if we can get hold of them, or if it's just a case we've been sent a shit old engine and we've been scammed. Right, later on in the day, let me tell you where we're up to with this engine now. I have basically gone back to the seller via eBay, because that is where we purchased this engine from. We gave about 950 quid for this engine, just shy of £1,000 as mentioned a few moments ago. Now luckily we did buy this through eBay, which for all its pros and cons is at least gives you some guarantee when you're buying a product. If it is faulty, you'll be able to get your money back from the buyer. So I thought, well, rather than just ring the guy who's just probably going to tell me what I don't want to hear, we'll just basically just do a return item as in it's defective. So we loaded all that up onto eBay, sent them the details and pictures of the problem, and we say we managed to get a response pretty quick actually from the company. I'm probably a bit shocked that someone was about to try and dump an engine back on them for 960 quid, which I was quite happy to send in the post, get it all palleted up and send back to them, because as long as I put my proof of tracking on, you will get your money back. That is the beauty of eBay. We've got a faulty part. Now, can you imagine if we'd not done that, if we bought this, from something like Marketplace, or we'd gone to even a breaker's yard, we would struggle then, basically to try and get a refund if they weren't playing ball with us. If they were just going to turn around and say no, or they disagreed with it, we'll be in a bit of a difficult position. You'll be going through like courts and stuff, which we don't want to do. We just basically want what we paid for, which is a engine that is going to run and function, and as described, a good working engine. Now, luckily, I would imagine because eBay probably would have refunded me imminently if I'd sent the engine back. He actually got in contact with me very, very quickly and by a messenger, and was basically saying that the engine come out of a running car, it was all good when it come out of it, blah blah blah. Now that may or may not be the case, but the reality is I am not putting an engine back in a car which has got far too much end flow or crank movement. It's not going to happen. Even if it is reasonably quiet and it's okay, it shouldn't be like that. And at the end of the day, it's going to go wrong imminently. And regardless of whether I was selling this to a customer, which we're not, we're selling it to another trader, it doesn't matter. It's not fair on them. They're going to sell it to someone else. It's not what we paid for. It's not how things should be done. So after a bit of to and back and fro from messengers, I think he sort of got the idea that we were going to just return this engine to him, and regardless of what his view was, we were going to get our money back, and I'll just go buy an engine from somewhere else. Then I think he realised, and then actually got in contact with me, called me directly this afternoon, and in fairness, when he spoke to me, we actually started to have a decent conversation, and we're getting somewhere, and he decided to come up with a compromise and say, look, I've got another engine here, which has come out of a running car. If you want me to exchange it, we can do. Now, luckily for us, the chap is not a million miles away from us. It's only about less than an hour's drive. So we managed to get the engine loaded up, which is a bit of a pain in the arse, but, it's just as bad if we had to send it back and pallet it and all that rubbish, and obviously the cost of it. Sent one of my lads down there, he drove down and swapped the engine around. Now, luckily the engine we've picked up has got no movement at all, which is good. We're told it's come out of a car that's done less miles. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. Reality, with no way of knowing that. But it's a better engine on the face of it than the one that we were given, basically. Still needs a wet belt on it. It's still just as bad. It's still cracked and horrible. But at least we have managed to source another engine. I don't think the chap was particularly happy about swapping it, and it is my view, and it is only my view, that had I not bought it through eBay, I think we'd have had a real uphill struggle. And the amount of people that you see get scammed buying parts, particularly on things like Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that, or even just buying from breakers yards, and at the end of the day, if you buy from a bad breakers yard who are going to argue a toss with you and basically, say digging and not giving you money back if they send you a defective part, you've got very little to go on. You're going to have to go down the civil courts route. At least this way, because you've got buyer's protection via eBay, we're in a good place. Might have got an engine cheaper elsewhere. Yes, we could have, but it's not worth the hassle, because if things go wrong like this, at least you've got that sort of security there that you can get out of this jam. So I am really relieved. Some will say, well, why did you take another engine off them? Should you just maybe just got your money back? Yes, but that would have took probably about a week or so, because we'd have to have took the engine back again. We have to send it by delivery. We have to have proof. We have to upload to eBay. Then they have to wait so long, and eventually you'll get your money back. And then we could have bought another engine in the interim. I just decided, after speaking to him, going down the lads went down, had a look at the engine, that in fairness this could just be a genuine mistake, and we'll look to basically switch the engine round and go from there. So we'll see how we go with this other engine. We'll get it fitted probably next week now, because we're running a bit short of time now to get that in this week. So I'll keep you posted on that one. But yeah, really relieved, because at the end of the day, all I wanted was just an engine that I paid for. That's all I wanted, and a good decent engine. I suppose it also gives a vital lesson as well of how bad these engines are, these 1.2 PureTechs, because not only do they suffer with this crankshaft problem where they get lots of end flow, but also, of course, the wet belts are absolutely terrible and always falling apart. The two engines we've looked at, the bad engine and now this new engine that we've been given, or the replacement engine, both the belts are in poor condition on both of those. The belt on the original engine in the car, which we're taking out and swapping it with, that belt completely snapped and broke apart. So these are just absolute crops of shit engines, these 1.2 PureTechs. So it is really difficult to find an half decent one, but fingers crossed, if we put a new belt on this one and we clean it all out properly, get it in the car, we can get it up and running, actually trade something out that actually will be fit for purpose. That's hopefully what we'll try and achieve next week. Right, anyway, I think it's about time we wrap this one up. Sun's in my eyes there. Thank you for watching this one, chaps. I appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe to the Car UK channel. Thanks again, and I'll see you all in the next one.